following show is a paid program.
Hey family, how you doing today? We have the ladies in with us, the ladies of Skyy. Hello ladies, how you doing? We have Miss Denise, Dolores, and Miss Bonnie.
Hey! So happy to be with you, Kim. Thank you for having us.
Oh, absolutely. I could not sleep. I had to look. Man, I am a fan. I'm truly a fan. Ladies, it has been 40 years. Wow, or close to, almost.
Where did the time go? I don't know.
Almost 40 years, and you guys just started yesterday, right? You're not even 40. I don't know if this happened.
Yesterday. Yeah, babe.
Let's talk a little bit about how we got started. But before we do, there's this old saying that the saying goes is that the oldest but the youngest is Denise, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The youngest,
that is correct,
but the oldest is Bonnie. There
that
you go.
Correct.
And Miss Dolores, beautiful Dolores, is in the middle here. Let's get started. Miss Denise, let's start off with you. How did you ladies, you sisters, get started in music?
Well, we always had music around the house. Our parents both had beautiful voices, and they were lovers of the music of the time. So I'm talking about music of the late 50s, 60s. As a matter of fact, they probably even had music that spanned back into the 40s because they loved Duke Ellington, Count Basie, Arthur Price. They loved all of the old music of those eras. So music was always in the house. Radio was always on. Records were always being played. And I think our initial love developed from that, but it moved into, once we got into high school, because we were just so intensely surrounded by it, we had various programs in high school that allowed us to be in chorus, even in junior high school, right, Bonnie?
Yeah. Junior high school, it's like all three of us in our high school, because we were fortunate enough to go to the same high school, had the same choral teacher. Actually, I started out playing the clarinet, but it wasn't until I saw Dolores and Denise and a former a classmate and friend of ours perform at one of the talent shows. I decided that is really what I wanted to do. I wanted to sing, and I left band.
Mm-hmm.
And we also had an aunt. Tell them about Aunt Sadie.
Yes, Aunt Sadie sang opera. She had this wonderful contralto voice, and she introduced us to a lot of the music, more classic music. And she had a friend, Adelaide, who had the most beautiful soprano voice. It was just amazing, and to hear her sing, and she was the one that lent us her reel-to-reel tape recorder so that we could practice in front of the mirror.
Right, and record. We had a big, giant reel-to-reel with a microphone that weighed about 25 pounds. And Aunt Sadie was the one that lent that to us, and we would be practicing and recording our little, our function at the junction.
And that's where that function at the junction song we were singing, how Denise cracked her tooth.
Yeah. Because I was doing my James Brown move and
swung that microphone and said,
So ladies, being sisters, coming together and then joining a group, how did that happen?
So when in high school, again, we were always in talent shows. We were always performing in sings, sing. I don't know if your listeners know what that is. It is a grade play that is usually developed by the 9th graders, 10th graders. It's a competition sort of, and so we were involved in those sorts of things. But when we graduated high school, we continued to work with this band, and then we had a guy that we used to babysit for, Stanley Burton. And so Stanley decided that he was going to be he became the director for the Miss Black America New York State pageant. And we decided that we wanted to sing. So my sisters and I, and then we, at that time it was a fourth member, Deborah Hunter, we auditioned for that. And that sort of was the catapult and the springboard for our professional music career. Because we were heard by Randy Muller at that audition. What was that? We sang
Old Man River.
Acapella, like the Temptations. And he was like, what? These girls did not just do that. Yeah, we did. And so that sort of was the thing that started us professionally in our, in our professional career.
Let's do something right now. Let's look at you in action. Let's see a video. Wait a minute, ladies. What's going on? Wait a minute. Where did Call Me come from?
Different hair.
Okay, where did Call Me come from?
Oh my goodness. Randy Muller, that was conceived from the mind of Randy Muller, who was one of the co-producers of the group Skyy, Solomon Roberts being the other one. And Randy decided that he wanted to come up with something a little more spicier than the songs that we had been doing previous to that, like The Very Nice Here's to You, Let's Celebrate. Everything was so sweet and so, loving. So he decides to come up with this Call Me thing. And I'm telling you, we could have never known that song would have taken off the way that it did. I mean, within 4 weeks of its release, we were being called by Soul Train. Don Cornelius personally called and said, you guys got to come out here and perform this song. And I'm telling you, it has just been the marker for our success. It was our first #1 single, our first gold single. It just broke all the records for everything we've done prior. So we're really happy that people still like the song.
Exactly.
Miss Bonnie, let's jump in on that one. Call Me, the meaning of it. Now let's talk about what this Call Me is.
I'm not guilty. Is what I have to say. Not guilty.
You're not guilty? It's not you? Okay.
Not guilty. I'm pleading it, but I mean, a lot of people, some people might have gotten a little, testy, because they're thinking the girlfriend is trying to horn in on her girlfriend's man.
Yeah.
I keep on saying, no. They're just friends, they're talking about, the issues. But I think a lot of people really enjoyed it because it was such a fun song.
Yes.
The melody was so, so fun. So we've never gotten really any flack, because of the song. I know that is real life. But again, not guilty.
Mr.
Right,
Lawrence?
we've never done that. We've never done
Mr.
that.
Lawrence,
That's mentioned in the song.
Mr. Lawrence, what do you think about this song? This song itself?
When you think about it, if you really listen to it, she said, though your girlfriend's a friend of mine, here's my number and a dime. Call me. She didn't say, I want to hang out with you. I want to do all of this.
Right.
She said, just call me if you need someone to talk to.
Yes.
That's all she said.
But she also said, you know that I'm the one you need. So anyway,
she's the one.
She's the one he needs
to talk to.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You have some great songs. I know you guys have some great songs. Start of Romance. Where did that come from?
Oh my goodness. One of our, I think, all-time favorites to sing. Not so much to perform because we have the crazy choreography for that one. But that song came from our drummer, Tommy McConnell. It was like the surprise entry for the Start of a Romance LP. And we were just so happy when Tommy came up with that song. An amazing songwriter, probably not as recognized, as Solomon and Randy were throughout our career. But Tommy also had a hand in Let's Celebrate as well. So Start of a Romance is just one of those really super refreshing songs, great bass line, great beat. And the lyrics just tell this beautiful story, about an initial, start of a romance with individuals. And we've delighted our younger audiences. The great thing about that song is it came out in 1993. So look at the time distance. It's a decade after Call Me. And it helped us to continue to remain relevant in the industry. And that's the thing, one of the benchmarks for that particular song that we really appreciate the most.
And also, it was one of my favorite videos out of all the videos that we've ever done. The Start Romance video told a beautiful story, and it was done in black and white, which was a different way of doing things. Because Call Me was our first video, but Start of a Romance being our basic last video, and having it done in black and white and shot in so many different places and areas, that was one of my favorite videos.
Wow.
And what was so good about the Start of a Romance? What was so good about Start of a Romance? With that song along came Real Love. And so here we are, we're a group that's not necessarily known for ballads, and we always had great ballads on each one of our albums. But Real Love, coupled with Start of Romance, took us right back out on the road.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Real Love. I'm glad you jumped right in there, Bunny, with it. Let's talk about Real Love and where it started.
Oh my goodness. So once again, Solomon Roberts. So we talked about Call Me, which was, conceived from the mind of, Randy. Solomon always nailed it when it came to those ballads. And for me, every time he would present it to me, I was always able to really put myself into it and really sing it and be able to put the song across. And Solomon just had this knack for telling these beautiful love stories. And in that one in particular, it's about a guy who's been hurt before, of course, and he's a little bit, gun shy about getting involved with the next person. And she's saying, hey, I don't know what the other chick did, but it has nothing to do with me.
Right.
So it tells this really beautiful story about how you can't live your life. Yeah, you can't give up on love. Yeah. You can't be afraid of love, right?
I'm glad Dolores jumped right in here and speak about that. You can't just give up, right?
Yeah, and so many people have that issue, and back then, and they still do now. And back then, somebody hurt you, so it's like, okay, I'm going to shy away from everybody, but you can't be afraid to give 360 degrees of yourself to the next person, because that may be your real love.
Wow, Miss Bunny, let's jump right in. We're talking about fashions too. You all are always fashionable, but in looking back, your style originally started with the Supremes and the Shirelles. What did you like about them? What did you see that you loved?
Well, what we liked about them is, that was an era where women were modest. They dressed well. They looked good. And we were so fortunate that our mom was a fantastic seamstress. So when we would see these girl groups and with these beautiful gowns, flowing, sparkly, we always wanted to present ourselves in that manner. Now, when we did start doing choreography, not just wonderful hand movements, we said, wait a minute now, we're not going to be able to do the male movements in these gowns. Right?
That was not working out too well.
That wasn't working out too good.
Right? Yeah, man, get that leg out
now
there.
You got the little heels on.
Yeah, look at too cute. Too cute.
The fact that the women back then, the Marvelettes, the Supremes, Martha and the Vandellas, all of those groups, Honeycombs, 3 Degrees, all those groups, those women were so well dressed. They presented themselves so well. And this is how we always said we want to present ourselves.
Right. I'm glad we're speaking about that because right now we're talking about women in music. That's our topic really on today. And in looking at it now, your music is so timeless, right? And you've been out here for a long time, but we have young ladies that are coming forward now that are out. And I think we need to speak to them about less is more, sometimes. You don't have to just, always have, and maybe that's the time, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you know what?
I want to cry sometimes.
Well, you're right, Bonnie. Let me say this.
Yeah.
There are a lot of talented young women out here, but I think that society in general has dictated to them what is acceptable.
Right.
And we grew up in a very different period of time where there was something called propriety. There was something called standards. If I were to mention the word girdle, they wouldn't know what we were talking about, okay? Because you weren't walking around with anything jiggling or moving around too much.
Right.
Because it just...
Or hanging out.
Nothing hanging out, nothing jiggling, because it was just not proper or appropriate, okay?
Right.
And so the society itself has moved into this whole different place where you got to keep it 100, you got to keep it real. They've used all these euphemisms to throw away what we understood to be morals and a moralistic view. Now, there is something to be said about, Lena Horne looked sexy. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That was Dolores's.
Yes, there was a way to be attractive and beautiful without having every single thing that you have available to you shown to the world.
Right.
And I think that has kind of crossed paths and cross-patched in the young minds of a lot of these young artists. And some of it is just, it's even starting to get flack from the general public. The last couple of award shows, I will, not name, the persons who were involved, but everybody knows. People were offended.
Yes.
And people felt that, that was just way beyond even the lyrics. Let's start with that. The lyrics, I think, move you in the direction of now having to represent that in your, your choreography and in your dress.
Right.
And so it appeals to the younger set, of course. But I think that with the talent that they have, I'm not trying to take anything away from the talent that they have, but like, I have a young man that used to write lyrics, and I'd say, you know what? You seem to have a penchant for this, but can you change the words? Can you say something positive? Can you say something uplifting? Can you say what you're saying in a different way?
Yeah.
So that, it's not with all the cursing and the references to women's bodies, disrespectful references to women's bodies.
Well, Dolores and I were having that conversation, right?
They don't see it as disrespect.
No, they see it as this is the norm and this is keeping it 100. But if you're going to keep it 100, then where is your mindset in terms of what 100 really is?
Right.
Because I mean, like you even just for instance, you can even look at different comedians. There's a comedians out there that every other word is a cuss word, and then you look at there's one particular one that will have you on the floor rolling, and not one curse word comes out of his mouth. Right. So by the same token, you can be able to do the same thing with your music and still make it as entertaining and as 100 without using 4-letter words, talking under somebody's clothes, as my mother would say.
Right.
Okay? And just referring to something that half of them don't even really know anything about.
And this is the thing too. Are they listening to your music or your vocals, or are they so busy looking at your body?
Yeah.
You don't know which one they're doing.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no separation. There's no separation. Because how distracting is that if everything is shine?
Absolutely.
You don't know if they moved on to the next song.
Well, let's do this. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back on the Cam Hill Show.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages. My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Amazing things for you.
Experience the pinnacle of performance at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $369 a month, or the new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $449 a month, or the new 2021 XT6 Luxury Collection for only $509 a month, all for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
When you shop Ron Carter, Cadillac.com.
Yeah. Oh boy. I'm going old school on his butt.
Let's play a game. I'm a savage.
Come on.
Whoa. Hey, I let him still attached. Ooh, everybody right, but
I got it. Ooh. She got me.
Classy, bougie, ratchet.
Granny's out here having a martini at halftime.
Haters gonna hate.
Space Jam, July 16th. And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, family, we're back with the ladies of Skyy, Denise, Dolores, and Bunny. Hello, ladies. We were just talking about fashion a little bit.
Hey, we're back.
Yeah, we were talking about fashion, and we were just talking about the fact about less is more. Let's just do less on it, right?
Yes, on
yes.
it, please.
And not less clothing.
If you got not less clothing, right? If you got that beautiful body, okay, leave something for the imagination.
Yeah.
Okay, and believe you me, whatever you attract will probably have greater longevity than what you'll attract at the outset. Now, those are words that you use, or take them however. It's useful.
Well, ladies, let's talk about something. Creativity in music is about 10% of the music business, but it's 90% business. And I think we as people lose out on that 90%. We saw it during COVID because there were people that didn't have their royalties, or they did not have their, publishing. They just didn't have additional checks coming in, and they really were devastated. Let's talk about the business side and representation.
Well, we have since we've been Ladies of Skyy, which has been going on X amount of years. We're gonna put an X there,
right?
That number's supposed to be. But we have learned as now independent artists. So we saw how things ran when we had record company associations, right? But by the time we became Ladies of Skyy, the whole face of the music industry changed.
Yes.
And so as independent artists, now you have social media, where you used to have a complete marketing department or an A&R department in a record company that did that sort of marketing and publicity for you across the country and around the world. So we've had to learn step by step as older people. Young people automatically, she's got a 1.5-year-old great grandson that knows how to switch and go to YouTube. I know I don't like that. Let me go to something else. He's mastered it as an infant, but it's something we've had to learn, going along. We've also become more involved in writing. Our latest ventures, our latest 2 songs, we contributed to the writing. We contributed to the recording of the songs. We've had to learn how to be producers, and we now have our own publishing. So we have come to understand the importance of, like you said, in order for those coins to flow in your direction, the coins, the bag. They have so many euphemisms now for the money.
Right. The dollars.
The dollars. In order for it to flow your way, you really have to have complete creative control of your songs and your images. All of that stuff now is a way of making money and being monetized.
Exactly, because it's your business. Right. It's your business. Know your business.
And I think what really helped us was being so long in Skyy and seeing what not to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's a difference in knowing what to do and what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you either learn from that lesson and move on, or you get stuck in that lesson.
Right.
So we were fortunate enough, as the three of us were able to learn from that lesson. We are contributors, all three of us. It's not just one person. We are all in this business together. Myself, my sisters, Austin. We got a great team. So there's nobody. Everybody's a contributor.
Right.
And the other, I'm sorry, Bonnie, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was talking about the saving for the rainy day part.
That's right.
I wanted to get to that part.
One
of the things we learned in Skyy, a lot of groups of the time, they would get paid and they just split the money up and pass the money off to everybody. And then what do you do with the money? You go out and buy a Cadillac, you buy a house, you get something for your mama. But what we did, we created a corporation. And we actually paid income taxes, and we also paid unemployment taxes, and health insurance. That when things were a little more lean, we were able to apply for unemployment. Wow. We ran it as a corporation. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to follow that same process today. Save it for a rainy day, because as you stated, when the pandemic came in and the business and everything just came to that standstill. If you didn't have
a day job,
at that day job, or some money saved up, or income coming in, it became really difficult for you. So, look at everything. Get you a financial advisor if you need to make sure that you set everything up properly. And this way, hopefully you'll have some longevity, because people got to have 401k. Nowadays, people don't realize they get old. You get old.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
That's right. And Social Security just don't give you the money.
No, they do not.
You have to pay into that. You see what I'm saying? So, and this is what I said, as you spoke about during the pandemic, artists, performers who aren't on that A-list, so to speak, got hit hit hard. Broadway, dancers, venues, everybody got hit. And I know I made comments sometime to people, and I say, look, singing, I get it. It's our passion. We love it. But the three of us always had day jobs. Yes. So we did not get hit like most.
Yeah.
People did. We still had monies to fall back on. So you have to look at, like Denise said, you got to save, you got to invest, you got to get you a little part-time job, work that job so you can pay into that system.
Absolutely. So that the system can pay you
so
back.
The system can pay you back.
Wow, that is something right there. And what you all are educating people on right now is because, as I look at it now, again, the pandemic hit. The end of February, beginning of March, people could no longer travel. I mean, immediately, a lot of the concerts were being eliminated.
Yes.
50 to 70, 70 places were, they were just saying, hey, you can't come out anymore. We didn't even know the time when it would lift. And it still hasn't lifted, really.
That's
right. It hasn't lifted totally. Right. It hasn't lifted totally. And people are like sort of sticking their toe in the water now, to see if it's okay to go in. Is it warm enough for us to go in?
Right.
And you just don't know, because this entire situation is rife with uncertainty.
Right.
I mean, really, you think you're great because you got vaccinated, and oh boy, the doors open and let everybody in, but not so sure.
And it hit so hard. 2020 was really supposed to be a really good year for Ladies of Skyy.
Yeah.
Our unsung hit. we were getting calls left and right.
Yeah.
We were getting booked, and all of a sudden,
we were about to go to France.
We were about to go to France. Austin is saying this one is calling, that one is calling. We're booked here, we're booked there, and then all of a sudden,
came to a
screeching halt. So if you didn't have that anything to fall back on, and artists, people were hurting.
Yeah.
And all that we say to people is, you don't know when this is really going to be lifted as totally.
Right.
So when you see that job on Facebook that says we're hiring, you might want to take it back.
I love that. I love that. Your music is timeless. As we're looking through, every time, if you start with a song and you hear that first beat, we know exactly who is singing. Why do you think that's so?
Well, I'm very proud to say that we, as a band, had a unique group of musicians. I'm gonna give a shout out to Tommy McConnell, our drummer. No one has been able to match that opening drum line and call me.
Yes.
They tried and failed miserably. Talk about epic
Not
fail.
taking away anything from them.
Oh no, but they did.
He came up with something that is so unique that we have watched, guys that have tried to work with us struggle trying to find
and say, oh, you don't need that.
And try to eliminate it, and we're like, you're fired. You're eliminated, not the drum line. But Butch Sierra, our lead guitar player, this guy had the rock influences. Yes. And if you sit and listen to any of our music, this guy always has a solo in there, and it's always this really amazing sound that he was able to evoke. Solomon Roberts, a genius writer, producer. He was the rhythm guitar player. Actually taught himself to play rhythm guitar because he was our drummer originally. And then Gerald Lebone had an amazing background in soul music. He was Ray Goodman and Brown Moments drummer. So each of those guys, bass player. My bad. See, that's why I got younger sisters. Mommy was smart. They help me remember things. But so we had a great collective of musicians.
Like you said, everybody had a different influence to their musicianship. It was Butch was rock. Gerald was soul. I mean, it was just everybody had a different. And so when you took all of that and you put that together, that became the unique sound of Skyy.
And not to forget the ladies of Skyy. We've been told by people who have observed us as we sing, there's just something that happens, and it happens with any group that has sisters in it. So we will say the Jones Girls, we will say the Hutchinsons, Sister Sledge. They're that genetic composition that comes together that gives that family the ability to sing, results in a truly unique sound that cannot be duplicated. So we've been very fortunate that we were able to bring that, as we say, signature sound to Skyy, and as a result make our music timeless. I hope.
Absolutely. And ladies, you put your group together around 1996 or so. And then the ladies of Skyy, you went out alone. What made you do that?
Austin.
I'm telling the truth. Well, we had to do something after once the genre of music, hip hop, started to kind of take over as the prominent genre of music. But yet the classic R&B sounds of groups like ours continue to be played on the radio, because especially in New York, we have urban contemporary thing will never go. To this day, they still play that music. So that's what moved us to say, and Austin being my husband for the listeners out there, who's our manager. We decided, all right, so let's stick our toes in the pond again and see, whether we can make something out of this. And because we are the signature vocalists of the group,
Yep.
people really took to it. Now,
Right.
I have to say in the beginning, just from a business standpoint, it took a while for us to truly let that brand, Ladies of Skyy, sink in.
Right.
Because it wasn't usually until we'd start to sing. They're like, Ladies of Skyy, okay, yeah, who's that? And then we'd come out with Let's Celebrate, and they'd be like, oh, that's really them.
Right.
But now, some years later, which we ain't gonna say how many, but some years later, 30. Bonnie, 20, 30.
Right, absolutely, absolutely.
So I stand in the middle.
30.
I love that, Dolores. She says she stays in the middle. I love that.
30. I'm telling you, if it wasn't for her, I would tell you what, there would be no balance in this crazy group of sisters right here. Believe it, she's the littlest one too, but she's the one that keeps everybody.
She keeps it balanced. That's too funny. That's too funny. Oh my God. We do have to do a shout out to Mr. Austin. I tell you, that one right there in management, just there.
Let me tell you, Austin.
He's a browbeater.
Yes, we have to give Austin such major great credit.
Having to deal with the three of us is enough.
Yeah, well, yeah, Dolores. Yeah.
Like, let's be real.
Don't care that part.
The poor man. I mean, if we ever gang up on him, sometimes he just goes to run.
He just goes out the road. You know, he's a giver.
So it's like he has weathered this storm.
Yes.
Being married to Denise for all of these years, and then dealing with us and having to deal with sometimes 3 different opinions, and then he'll pull me to the side and say, "Can you talk to them? Can you get them to do this?"
And we're like, "No."
Okay, I'll try, but I'm gonna tell you right now, you're right. And this one is the same as this one, so I can help you out as much as I can. But and we come to a realization and a balance somewhere. In all of this, but he puts up with a lot of craziness from us, and I have to give him props for all
We have
of
to
that.
give him
but
props.
that's
Trust me.
the thing, right? That's the thing. Like Dolores was saying in the beginning, it was very rocky.
Yeah,
because it was new. We were trying to get our footing as ladies, Ladies of Skyy, and then we started to be able to have a voice. Because when you're coming out of a big group, you really don't have that voice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Our manager has the last word.
Yeah.
And so we are able to tell, we're able to sit at the round table, so to speak, and say, no, yes, maybe, let's think about it. Maybe we could do it this way or that way. He gets on the phone, he calls, let me do a conference call. So we've all learned to work together for the better of Ladies of Skyy.
Right. That is great. That's great. And looking at it, and we talked about the impact. We talked about your music being timeless. Going forward for women in music is really strong now that you ladies see, right? But we're talking about the younger women. And let's give them some advice. Let's tell them some things that even the new artists that are thinking about coming out, that are ladies and they're, coming out. Let's talk to them and let's tell them some things that you've probably seen, gone through, or had to go through.
Well, I'm going to say this. I want to say to the young women, young, in between, whatever, who are trying to really get a footing in this business, please don't sell yourself short for that dollar. It is not worth it. Sell your craft, not what you think everyone
not your
wants to
assets.
say. Right, not your assets. Right. Sell your craft, because there's always going to be somebody that is going to try to push you in direction and say, okay, this dollar is, this is where the money is, you have to act like that, you got to be like that, you got to dress like that. Don't do it, because there's somebody that is going to grab your hand and see what your worth is. That's who you go with.
And I think right now, women have a greater opportunity to be their own bosses now. And here's where, if you don't know everything that you feel you need to know, first of all, always have a good lawyer. Let's start with that.
Let's start with us.
Okay, you have to have because you can't have gone to law school and be a singer. That's quite a threat right there. But have a good attorney behind you, and speak to people who have been in the industry so that you can set yourself up step by step. Because sometimes when you're a creative, you don't necessarily have the knowledge about other things to really keep you going as a business. So that's where you have to surround yourself with a good team of people. Okay, pick and choose who's going to be around you. And I think it's a great time for women right now in music, because they're getting recognized on so many other levels, right? So many issues have come up that have now put women in the forefront. So this is a great time, whether you're in music or you're in any other industry. Make sure that you step up to that plate, know your craft, and put yourself out there in as positive a fashion as you know.
Absolutely, because you don't want to do anything now that 40 years from now it's going to come and bite you in the neck. Not in your behind, it's going to bite you in the neck because it's going for the jugular. Things that I've done on stage when we first came out as Skyy, my granddaughter can watch without regret. My great-grandson can tell his friends, if this world ever lasts, when he's like 10, 12 years old, this is my great-grandmother and this is what she did. So don't put yourself out there and 20 years, 30, 40 years later, you looking at yourself saying, oh my God.
Did I really do that?
Absolutely. Yes. Let's do a break. We'll be right back on The Cam Hill Show.
We'll be right back to The Cam Hill Show after these messages.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Amazing things for you.
Experience the pinnacle of performance at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $369 a month, or the new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $449 a month, or the new 2021 XT6 Luxury Collection for only $509 a month, all for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
When you shop Ron Carter, Cadillac.com.
Yeah. Oh boy. I'm going old school on his butt.
Let's play a game. I'm a savage.
Come on.
Whoa.
Hey, I let you feel attached. Ooh, everybody right, but
I got it.
Ooh.
She got me.
Classy, bougie, ratchet.
Granny's out here having a martini at halftime.
Haters gonna hate.
Space Jam, July 16th. And now back to The Cam Hill Show.
Hey, ladies, we are back with the ladies of Skyy, Denise, Dolores, and Bunny. We were talking about women. We were talking about them being in, this is the time for ladies. This is it.
This is a hot time for ladies. You know, I want to give a shout out to, because I really love her and I think she's an excellent example. Her. I really am enamored of that young lady. I saw something the other day where she was a little girl and appeared on somebody's TV show so many years ago. You would have never known she was going to grow into. See, this is the thing. You never know what you're going to grow into and to become. And the thing that I love about her is she has her head on super straight. She's putting out excellent music. She's concerned about her image.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even Rihanna, I have to give her a lot of credit because she has grown up and she's become what they say, a boss, B-A-W-S-E. That's how they're spelling it now. But I'm saying she's moved into other arenas. You know, think about that. So you're not just a musician, but you have an opportunity now to go into cosmetics and to go into
and you have
industry.
an opportunity to be a role model. See, this is the thing. If you want to be a role model, if you start off on teetering a little wonky with your presence, that's one thing. But kind of step back and see. Don't get stuck. And
because as you mature, you become from, you know, as you go from a toddler to a little girl, and then you become a teenager, then you become a young woman. So as you get older, you begin to mature, and with that maturity comes different steps to take you in different and better, bigger and better places.
Right. And you don't want to be lazy.
Because they never think they're going to get old, Cam. You see, they all.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to be labeled either. Yeah, you don't want that label. You don't want to be labeled in a negative way, you know?
Who's that used to say, keep living? Who was that? My mother used to say, keep living.
We'd be like, what is she talking about?
And then you suddenly realize, oh my goodness, as time goes by, it's just like a simple thing. Like, I used to hate olives. Now I like them. Things change as you get older. Your tastes change. You know what I mean? And so, like Dolores said, when we were growing up, you know, everything we did wasn't splattered all over Facebook and Instagram. Right. You know, people have a past, and it's never going to be erased. So yeah. But anyway, I love her. That's all I want to say.
Miss Bonnie, let's jump in. What would you like to leave with the viewers? Miss Bonnie.
What I would like to leave with the viewers is this. I am hoping that these last 18 months has brought you to know what is important. That your life matters, the life of your family and friends matter, and don't go back to that hurry up world. Sit back, enjoy your life, sit back, appreciate and have gratitude that you have come out on the other side of this pandemic.
Sounds good. Miss Dolores, what would you like to leave with the viewers?
Well, I agree wholeheartedly with my sister Bonnie. Always be thankful, be grateful. You know, you wake up in the morning, you say, phew, I opened my eyes again. Thank you. Be true to yourself. Always be honest in everything you do. And just love the people around you, because tomorrow is not promised to any of us. So love your family. If there's an issue that you have gone through with some disagreement with somebody, fix it. And if you can't fix it, then forgive and move on.
Absolutely. Miss Denise.
Oh my goodness, they were so profound. I'm the crazy funny one. That's why I stayed young. That's why I stayed the youngest in spite of being the oldest. But what are my two things? Two words come to mind. Integrity. It's a very important and major quality that I think will carry you the distance. Okay, because if you have standards, you can't let somebody knock you off of those standards, and those standards and that integrity will move you to always do the right thing when it comes to yourself as well as to others. Self-care. It's not selfish to worry about yourself. So while you're taking care of everybody else, because I know there's a lot of your viewers that have expended so much of their energy and time to take care of this one, that one, and the third, take a minute, look in that mirror, and put some Pond's cold cream on your face. It's a box.
Take care of you.
Take care of you. And my third thing is joy.
That's
I'm always laughing. I am always smiling. My mother said even when I was a child, she had to watch me because I'd smile at people. She said, I thought somebody was going to steal you because you were always smiling and always happy. So keep joy in your life as well. And continue to listen to the music.
Yes.
Love the music.
How do we find your music? How do we find your music? How do we find what you're doing, your upcoming events?
Okay. So we have 2 events coming up quickly. We have we'll be at the Claridge Hotel September 25th for a fundraiser event, and we're going to be in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area at the August Wilson African American Music Center.
December 11th.
December 11th. We've got 2 new songs. One is already out, Love at First Sight. And if you want to be in contact with us, www.ladies, that's LADIES, of Skyy, SKYY, EPK for electronic press kit, .com. I think that's it. And then we're on all social media. We're on the official Ladies of Skyy. I mean, I don't have my chip sheet to tell me about all those.
Well, I tell you what.
And then you can always call Austin or Mr. Cam Hill.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Mr. Austin Kwame Wilkerson. I tell you, he is the man. He has been pushing it. He said, I want the Ladies of Skyy on, and he was so right. Thank you, ladies, for the opportunity. First, thank you from our hearts to yours that you stayed the course. You stayed the journey. Thank you for the music, because had it not been for you, so many ladies now could not stand on your shoulders at this point had you not continued. We appreciate you, we love you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Cam. We really had fun. And to your whole team, thank you.
Sounds good. The Cam Hill Show, 12:30, 1:30 Central Standard Time. See you then.